Now, I could absolutely positively say that I hate recording during the day because my lighting always screws up because of the natural lighting coming out of my window that I cannot block out for the life of me. I know I'm going to have to constantly keep updating and adjusting my lighting on the webcam as this video goes on. So if you see the lighting go differently as the video goes on, that is exactly why. But what's going on, guys? What's going on, 27 Squad? Welcome back into another video, and we got a banger for you guys today. Now, I already came out with my 2-round mock draft for the entire NFL, but now it's time for the New York Giants, and I think I concocted something crazy, man. Something crazy.
Someone cooked here.
Now, everybody has their own perfect mock draft in mind and their separate agendas. Some people really want to overload on offense. That's what I seen on Twitter, is overload on offense, all 3 rounds offense. Some people get a little conservative and want to trade back and, you know, pick up some pieces on offense and defense. Like, it's all over the place. But I honestly think this could make everybody happy. Now, this mock draft is going to be a simulation of if the Giants were to trade back with the Minnesota Vikings. Let's just say that the Minnesota Vikings were not able to get a deal done with the Cardinals or with the Los Angeles Chargers. They said, hey, we are not moving from our position. We are going to grab the best player available, and they grab Marvin Harrison Jr., the Cardinals, and the Chargers get Malik Neighbors. Also assuming the top 3 quarterbacks are also off the board in the top 3 spots. Now, if the Giants were to trade back and go from the 6th down to the 11th and 23rd pick, they do have to give something back in return. And I've been kind of going back and forth on this. You know, you can go as high as a 2025 second-round pick, but at the same time, when you trade up for a quarterback, you do have to pay a little bit extra. So I kind of wanted to say a 2025 third-round pick we would have to give back to the Minnesota Vikings. It is possible they would have to give back a second-round pick next year, but if the Minnesota Vikings are that desperate, they probably would allow us to just give back a 2025 third-round pick and say, hey, listen, we're just trying to get up and get this quarterback, and let's just say we oblige by that, and we trade down. So the Giants acquired the 11th and 23rd pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, and they give back the 6th overall pick and a 2025 third-round pick. So with the 11th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the New York Giants select Quinyon Mitchell, the cornerback out of Toledo. In my opinion, he's definitely kind of surpassed everyone as that #1 corner. There was a lot of debate for a while. Who is the best corner in this draft? You can go Quinyon, you can go Terrion Arnold, you can go Nate Wiggins, you can go Kool-Aid McKinstry. He's kind of falling down boards all the way down to the 2nd round now. You seeing this right now? Are you seeing this? This is why I hate recording during the day. That is better. Let's continue. Quinyon Mitchell is at a perfect height of 6 foot, 195 pounds, and he's not too big, not too small. He's right around the perfect size for a cornerback, and 31-inch arms is nothing crazy. We've seen bigger than that, but he does have a good wingspan on him, a good frame on him. He ran an insane combine of 4.33 at the combine, and that's probably what really elevated him to the #1 corner spot in a lot of people's rankings, including mine. Had a fantastic Senior Bowl there at Toledo. They run a lot of soft zone, a lot of off man, so there was a lot of questions leading up to the Senior Bowl and the combine, and even going into the draft now, that, you know, can he handle press man coverage? And in the Senior Bowl, he definitely was able to do that. Quinyon Mitchell is going to add just a great element to our defense, and with Shane Bowen coming in, a new defensive coordinator, we have to upgrade the defense. I know a lot of people really want to go offensive heavy in this draft, and that is completely fair because our offense has struggled for years now and has been probably the weak link on our team. But with a new defensive coordinator coming in, we lost a couple of pieces. We have to add to it. The Giants currently do not have a cornerback 2 on the roster, with, you know, Cordell Flott probably being the next best cornerback on the roster. That is sad to say. And listen, if you bring in Quinyon Mitchell, it is no surefire fact that Deonte Banks is the #1 corner. There will be a legitimate competition there of who is that #1 corner, and I think it'll only make the team a lot better. Having a Quinyon Mitchell and Deonte Banks there, and trying to figure out who CB1 and who CB2 is going to be a fun storyline in training camp. Now, you could have went a Brian Thomas Jr. You could have went in different directions if you wanted to get a tackle or something like that. But I think getting the best cornerback in this draft, in my opinion, is probably a lot more valuable, and it's an obvious need. The Giants, like I said, do not have a second cornerback on this roster. Nick McLeod right now is slated to start at boundary corner next season, and that's unacceptable. Now let's move on to that 23rd pick. The Giants select Michael Penix Jr., the quarterback out of Washington. Listen, I know this may be a little early for him. Honestly, I don't necessarily think, I think he is a borderline first round pick. And if you're talking about a borderline first round pick, you shouldn't mind being able to take him at the 23rd spot. You're not going to risk trading back down and trying to figure out if you can get him or not, because there could be a team that trades back into the first round to get him. The Giants would actually be a candidate to trade back into the first round if we didn't have this trade down, and we would probably have him at like the 27th, 28th pick. That, in this case, it's just 5 slots higher than where the Giants would have traded back into the first round to grab him. I think this is a perfect spot for Michael Penix, and I think the Giants should take their chance here to take a quarterback that can sit for a year to learn and develop, and then eventually start. It's a perfect win-win situation where the Giants can get a top-tier prospect in this draft to play this year in Quinyon Mitchell and have another second-round pick to burn on a quarterback. Now let's talk about a little bit of Michael Penix's game. He probably has the best arm of the top prospects as far as throwing the ball deep and being able to hit those sideline throws. Obviously, you have guys like Joe Milton that has the best arm, like the strongest arm in the class, but he's like a 6th, 7th round prospect. Talking about the top quarterbacks, Michael Penix probably has the best arm. Now, there is a little bit of cons to his game, right? A lot of people are really harping on the fact that he doesn't throw towards the middle a lot. I'm thinking it's a little bit more of the scheme that they don't throw to the middle a lot. They have, they have guys like Jalen Polk and guys like Roma Dunze kind of stretching the field, being those possession receivers on the boundary. So I'm thinking it's not really much of his game. I think it's just much of the scheme. Another thing of concern is ball placement, but listen, this guy has all the tools. He has a strong arm, has fairly decent accuracy, has enough accuracy for the NFL. Another underrated factor of his game is having touch on the ball. I can't stress enough how much that is very, very important with the quarterback coming into the draft. Having touch on the ball, being able to throw over linebackers, hit those hole shots in cover 2, thread the needle in a seam versus cover 3. This is the type of stuff that you need to have going into the NFL. If you have it already going into the NFL, it's going to be a lot easier for your development as an NFL quarterback. So he has all of that. He's able to kind of control his throwing power and is able to have touch on the football, and that is very nice to see. Now, there is the obvious concern of his injuries, right? He's had two torn ACLs in his collegiate career, but he is 2 years removed from those ACL tears, and the medicals at both the Senior Bowl and the Combine check out fine. He is completely fine. I don't know if he had any medical checkups at his pro day or if he even had his pro day yet, but they seem to check out fine. It seems like he is good to go. And then another factor that people are concerned about is his age. He is going to be 24 years old this season, and that's the same age as a lot of players coming out of their rookie contracts, some of them going into the NFL. So he is a little bit on the older side, but Michael Penix is still an NFL-ready, NFL-caliber quarterback, and I would love to take him here with the 23rd pick. This would give Daniel Jones legitimate competition, as Michael Penix is kind of very, very, very different from his game. Daniel Jones is a guy that can get out the pocket, can throw on the run, and throw short, is a little bit of a conservative quarterback. Michael Penix is a guy that should stay in the pocket, because when he's under pressure, it's just not great. Stays in the pocket, is great in the pocket, and extends the plays and throws downfield. Actually takes a lot of shots and trusts his receivers downfield. Very, very polar opposites in how these two players play, and it would provide a lot of competition for Daniel Jones, and I think Michael Penix would be the eventual starter next year or even sometime this season. Now, let's go into the second round, and I went back and forth on this constantly. I try to really gauge on who is going to be there at 47. I don't want to make these dream scenario mock drafts where it's like I'm getting the best wide receiver in the second round, I'm getting the best corner in the first round, right? But that's like legitimate. I'm getting the best like running back in the third round. I'm going to go over all of these picks and try to see who legitimately is going to be there. I've looked at multiple mock drafts. I did multiple mock drafts myself. So I kind of cross out some players like Troy Franklin. I like Troy Franklin, but I think he will be gone. And even if he's there, I don't think I will take him. That combine really turned me off, to be honest with you. And I just don't think we need a guy like Troy Franklin. We have field stretchers as it is. I don't think we have a need for Troy Franklin. And then I crossed out guys like Xavier Legette. Xavier Legette is a guy I am very off and on as well, but he is definitely not going to be there. With Carolina having 2 second-round picks, there are so many teams that need wide receivers before us in the second round. I don't think Legette is going to be there. He's going to be one of the first guys off. Another guy is Roman Wilson. I like Roman Wilson. I just don't think I would take him because we have Wandale as well. So that kind of takes me out of the wide receiver race. I'm not really considering wide receiver right now because I think the pool for a wide receiver is a lot more valuable at the third round than guys that we will be stuck with at the second round, because Legette, Franklin, Roman Wilson probably won't be there at 47. So I'm going in a different direction. I'm going interior defensive line with Chris Jenkins, the defensive interior out of Michigan. If you guys don't know, also, the Giants really don't have a second defensive tackle. Now, we have a great edge rush to start with, right? Brian Burns and Kayvon Thibodeaux is great foundation there with the edge rush, and Dexter Lawrence also a great foundation in the interior. But after Dexter Lawrence, we have Nacho, who at best is a rotational defensive tackle. I really don't think he can take being the full-time defensive tackle. And then we have project guys like DJ Davidson and Jordan Riley behind them. Our defensive interior is absolutely thin, and a lot of people are not talking about how thin we are at both cornerback and defensive interior, and I think we have to upgrade those with early picks. So Chris Jenkins is a fantastic pick for the Giants in the second round, to have another defensive tackle who can both stop the run and fill the gaps, and also have a good pass rush. He has a great pass rush to a game, a lot of good power, pushes the pocket, destroys the interior of the pocket. Having him and Dexter Lawrence with Brian Burns and Kayvon Thibodeaux would be a chef's kiss. Now, some draft experts are saying that he might be the strongest player in the entire NFL draft, and he does have shorter arms, but that will help generate a little bit more power with those shorter arms. And I think that's a little bit of an overrated thing to look at as well. And like, you look at shorter arms, obviously it provides a little bit of a disadvantage for offensive linemen with longer arms, because they keep that reach a lot better. And if you can't reach the offensive lineman, how are you going to get around them? I get that. But if you look at guys like Ed Oliver, who has literal like T-Rex arms, he's having a fine career in the NFL with no problems. You guys have to think about it as this. These players have had short arms their entire lives, okay? They're not going into the NFL with now just super baby arms. They've always had short arms. They know how to work with it. Now let's go into the third round. Constantly when I see these mock drafts, I always see Christian Haynes being mocked here. Third round, 70th overall. I'm telling you guys right now, he is not going to be there. This guy is going to be a high second round pick, if not mid to late second. He's going in the second round. The guard pool, like the pool for guards, is very, very scarce. He is going to be taken with quickness, okay? There's not a lot of guards to choose from. Teams are going to be jumping at the chance to grab a guy like him. Christian Haynes will probably not be a Giant, and he is one of my favorite players in this draft, but probably will not be a Giant. In the third round, I have the New York Giants selecting Javon Baker, the wide receiver out of UCF. He has been climbing up boards a bit, but man, what is there not to like about Javon Baker? If you watch him on film, I can understand why he is not like a first round, high second round guy, but he is definitely a surefire late second round to third round guy for sure. I think teams might fall in love with him too much, might take him in the second round, like very late, like Kansas City, if they don't get a wide receiver in the first. But I see him falling to the Giants here. We have an early pick in the third round. I think he can fall to us, but he absolutely attacks the football. He is not afraid to attack the football. When that ball is in the air, he goes up and goes for it. When he's running on in-breaking route, he will break to the ball to go grab that thing and get it away from other defenders. He can stretch the field. A lot of people have him as a see him as a complimentary number 2 wide receiver in the NFL, and I think that's perfect for where we're drafting at. The Giants are okay at the wide receiver position. Now, could they have benefited from getting a guy like Malik Neighbors? Absolutely. I think the Giants would take a first-round wide receiver, but after the first round, there's not a huge need to get one in the second round. There's not a huge absolute need to get one in the second round when you can grab one in the third, and Javon Baker would be a perfect pick here. He has about a fourth of his total snaps were in the slot, so he can play a little bit of a big slot role, and he also plays the outside. The Giants could use a guy to play inside and out. He just flat out wins downfield. He doesn't have blazing speed. He's at a 4.54 40-yard dash. That's not extremely fast, but that's fast enough, and he has good route running ability. Like I said, he catches the ball in traffic very well. It's going to be very rare that he is going to lose a battle in the air for the ball with a defensive back. It's just very, very uncommon to see from Javon Baker. Absolutely attacks the football. His ball tracking ability is like up there with Adonai Mitchell. I mean, he is a great prospect to get in the third round. I think the Giants and Giants fans would not be crying at all for not getting a first or second round wide receiver if we get Javon Baker in the third round. All right, staying with the offense in round 4, 107th overall. I really wanted to stick with offense here. I wanted to help the offense out a little bit more, and I'm looking for running back. The Giants just lost Saquon Barkley. They now have Devin Singletary and Eric Gray and Jashawn Corbin. I don't know if Corbin's going to make the team again, but we have Eric Gray and Devin Singletary, probably locks to make this roster right now, right? So what are we missing from this running back group? We have Devin Singletary, who's standing at like 5'7", 206. He is not exactly a speed back, not exactly a scat back that catches the ball at the backfield. He's just a good running back that plays a lot bigger than he is, plays between the tackles, is a tough runner, almost reminds me of like a Wayne Gallman, where he's smaller and doesn't look like he can be as tough in between the tackles, but he is. That's what Devin Singletary is. Doesn't have blazing speed to like break through and run for a touchdown. If we look at Eric Gray, same thing, another short yardage back, a guy that's going to give you a good one cut and probably get a good 8-yard gain on a good run. We're missing something, and that's home run ability. A guy that can take the ball, like if you guys remember David Wilson, take the ball, find a lane, and just run straight through it for a touchdown. Who does that remind you of in this draft? How about the fastest running back in this draft, Isaac Guerendo? Now, I am Hispanic, but I do not know how to pronounce his last name. I hope it's Guerendo. I think it's Guerendo. I think it's Guerendo. But anyway, now obviously the New York Giants are running a running back by committee now that Saquon Barkley is gone. They're going to be rotating through their running backs and sort of adapting what the NFL has been doing for a couple of years now. You don't have a full workhorse back, an elite back, then you're going to have to do a running back by committee and kind of rotate different running backs in there. Isaac Guerendo is probably the best running back by committee prospect in the 4th round right now. Perfect for the New York Giants. That's exactly what the Giants are missing, is a home run potential back, a guy that's going to take the ball and possibly break one out for a touchdown, and the Giants don't have that right now. With Devin Singletary and Eric Gray, these guys they don't have breakaway speed like Guerendo has. A 4.33 at the combine, so now we have a cornerback that ran a 4.33 and also a running back that ran a 4.33. We are adding speed in this draft. It's happening again. It's happening again. Son, go away. Go away. I should really be recording this at night, but I want to get like a head start on this. Let's just adjust this here. Whoa, too bright. All right. Now, when the sun goes back down, it's going to be really dark, but whatever. Breakaway speed, good quickness, can run outside the tackles as well as run in between the tackles. He's a guy that obviously is not a workhorse back, obviously has to be put into a running back by committee sort of thing there. And I think he was a running back by committee running back in Louisville. So it's perfect. It's a perfect fit for the Giants. I think this is a perfect running back for them to get. We don't have to go early in the 3rd round and get Trey Benson. Like that is not something we need to do. I know it's a pipe dream for a lot of fans out there doing these mock drafts, but it's just not a definite need right now. There are other positions we have to look at, and I think Isaac Guerendo is a perfect fit for the Giants. All right, in round 5, did I find some value for you guys today in the 5th round? How about Tyke Smith, defensive back out of Georgia? The Giants are missing a safety, right? A safety that can play in the box, play a little bit of a slot role with the departure of Xavier McKinney, who played a lot of the slot role and kind of a box safety role in Wink Martindale's system. And having the safeties right now, Dane Belton and Jason Pinnock. Pinnock being that guy that's probably going to be our free safety to play deep in that cover 3 system. And Dane Belton is going to be coming down, playing a little bit of a box safety role, that linebacker role, guarding tight ends and the strong side of the field. But we do need, in those 3 safety sets and in the slot in general, some competition there. And Tyke Smith is the guy for that in the 5th round. This is great value. Tyke Smith is listed as a safety, but he's played slot the majority of his career, has played a little bit, in the, single high, has played a little bit of cover 2 as well with Javon Bullard, who is another safety prospect, probably going to go in the 2nd or 3rd round. But Smith is at his absolute best in the slot. And the Giants brought back Darnay Holmes a couple of days ago, and they have Cordell Flott there. But listen, these are the same guys that were there last year, and last year the Giants were desperate. They were trying to see who was going to work out there because, man, they were an absolute liability. So Cordell Flott flashed at sometimes, but he's just not a starting level cornerback yet, and the Giants have to get some more competition in there. I think Tyke Smith could come in there as a 5th round pick and start for the Giants in the slot. Absolutely. This guy is not afraid to tackle, has good tackling technique, sticks on these guys like glue when he is tackling, has good coverage ability, especially on those short routes. He breaks on the ball extremely well. Now, whatever you want to list him at, cornerback, safety, I'm just going to say defensive back. It doesn't matter. He's going to be all around, and I think it's excellent value in the 5th round, and I really think this guy can start for us immediately. All right, and with the last pick in the 6th round, 183rd overall, I had the New York Giants selecting Curtis Jacobs, linebacker out of Penn State. This is a guy that has been very vocal about possibly being a Giant, and the Giants have met with him at the Combine, and he said in the Combine that he would love to be a New York Giant. I don't know if he said if he was a fan as a kid. Don't quote me on saying that. I have to go back and look.
The team you coach with? The Giants.
Giants?
Yeah.
For real?
Yeah.
That's been my favorite team.
Is it really?
I'm a Brandon Jacobs fan.
I'm actually a really big Giants fan since I was a kid. Yeah, Brandon Jacobs. He reached out to me a couple weeks ago.
But he did also say he wanted to be a New York Giant. He would love to be a Giant. And if you watch him on film, this guy is an absolute animal. I think he's going to be perfect for special teams and a depth linebacker role. He's a guy is a blitzing linebacker. He absolutely has no regard for his body. He throws his body around. He is extremely fast for a linebacker. I think he's going to provide excellent utility in special teams as, being a guy to get to the punt and kick returner. And like I said, if he did absolutely have to play in a game as a linebacker, he can be great for those blitz packages that, Micah McFadden gets put on a lot, and Bobby Okereke sometimes, but, Micah McFadden was excellent blitzing. If we don't have Micah McFadden or he's hurt or anything like that, Curtis Jacobs would be a good filler for him. So I'll put my picks right here. Obviously, we got Quinyon Mitchell, cornerback, best corner in the draft after the trade down. This would be a great pick for us for that number 2 corner spot. Then we got Michael Penix, quarterback that can possibly start this year, groom up for next year. Great pick, having that first round pick. In the 2nd round, we're addressing the defensive interior with Chris Jenkins. That would be, him and Dexter Lawrence would be insane. Javon Baker, adding him to the rotation of wide receivers would be fantastic. Isaac Guerrero, the running back out of Louisville, breakaway speed, good running back by committee back that we definitely need on this team. And then Tyke Smith in the 5th round would probably start in the slot. And then also Curtis Jacobs, who is a good blitz package linebacker and would be an excellent special teamer. That is my mock draft 2.0 for the New York Giants in the 2024 NFL Draft. What are you guys' thoughts? Leave it in the comment section below if you guys like the video. Make sure you guys like the video. Subscribe if you guys are new. And as always, I'm Kid Blue, and I'll see you guys in the next video.